So, as you're thinking about your writing this week, I just wanted to share some more information about character motivation. As you are thinking about how to create that character, I think that using motivation as a building block can be really helpful. And since we're studying that in independent reading, it makes perfect sense for us to think about that in our writing as well. So, remember that motivations are the reasons that we are doing things. Okay. And they can come from the inside or they can come from the outside. We talked about in our independent reading intrinsic motivators, things that come from within the character, or things that are extrinsic, pressures that come from outside the character. So it's important to start with what drives your character to think certain things, do certain things, say certain things, or act a certain way. So as you're writing, think about that character and think about how you can develop those motivations. What do you think this character wants? And if you're not sure, create it, make it up. You're the author, okay? How are they going to show that through what they do and what they say and what they're thinking? Okay, so use all of that to help you. Once you've determined your character's reason for doing what they're doing, you can establish a conflict. Because remember, if you've got an extrinsic motivator, right, it's coming from the outside, that could be society, it could be nature, it could be other characters in the story, and you could establish that as a conflict. Or it could be internal, it could be the character versus him or herself. And so you're creating a conflict between that character and what they want versus what they know is right or what they have to do. So you can think about that as a motivator and a development of conflict. Or you could also think about combining those things together, right? So having layers of different types of conflicts. You know from the stories that you've read that sometimes there isn't just one kind of conflict. Sometimes there's multiple layers of conflict. We could say that, for instance, a character like Kino, he is struggling with both internal conflict and external conflict. He's having, pressure from society. He's dealing with other characters that are treating him poorly, and he has to negotiate that situation with the pearl buyers. He's dealing with the pearl, which is nature. He's also dealing with his own greed and himself. So he's a combination of all of those things. So as you're developing your character, think about that. Think about how your character can be developed through their motivation and how that's going to create a conflict in your story. As you're working, watch this video about character motivation. I think it will help you to think about developing a more rich and well-rounded character in the sense of their traits and their desires and how they interact with other things in your story. It should help you to better understand how to use your character's motivation to make the conflict in your story happen and how that will push the story's plot forward. As always, I am here by email or one-on-one, so reach out if you need anything.